Have you ever wondered how to get started on building a day stack? Or are you even wondering what a day stack even is? Today, we're going to talk about how to start taking steps to simplify your busy life so you can feel more organized and less frazzled with something that I like to call day stack time blocking.
Are you ready to stop the chaos, the stress, the overwhelm that's filling your life? I'm Renae Matt, and together you and I are going to build simple routines that are going to change your life. When you put these habits into practice, you're going to be able to organize your life in a way where you can be there for your family, pay off your debt, save money, your house can stay organized, you don't have to stress about what's for dinner, and you still get time for yourself. So without further ado, let's get started. Welcome to the Routine Advantage Podcast.
So, when we talk about time blocking, there are so many different ways out there that people tend to do it. And there are a lot of different methods that you can use when it comes to organizing your day and what people consider time blocking. And I feel like the most common version of time blocking is that you have a set amount of time and then you do things within it. So, it's like you have your morning block, which is, maybe from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. And then you have your work block from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. And then you've got your after school block from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. And then you've got your dinner block from, and it just continues. And then you have to kind of compile everything you need to do within that block. And it can get really frustrating when life happens and all of a sudden you need to change things from your morning block to your afternoon block, but then your afternoon block gets too full and you're trying to figure out where to put your time. And it just becomes more work to try and organize things than it's worth it. And then you end up getting more stressed trying to relieve the stress by getting organized. And it can be this really stressful cycle. And I just want to encourage you that I have been there. I have tried to do it that way, and it does not work for me. So it does work for some people. And if it works for you, then that's great. But if you have found yourself trying to do something like that and finding that it just doesn't really work for your life, then maybe this is a better option for you because this is what over time I have found works best for me. So I don't know that this method is anywhere else. Like I just kept tweaking what I needed and it became this process of stacking my day into blocks of time that I could kind of shift around like puzzle pieces. And I just started calling it a day stack. And that is what method I have used. And that is where it has changed what I do and how I do things, and it makes me feel so much more organized, and not only do I feel more organized, but I can also continue to simplify things as I move on. So I am excited to share this. I have had episodes in the past where I've talked about this, and if you want to go search out those older episodes, you can join our free Facebook community. That might be the easiest way to search for them is if you join our free Facebook community, you can go to theroutineadvantagecommunity.com. And at the top of that group is a pinned post that has an episode library and you can search by keywords. So you could go type in there and you could type in day stack or time blocking or planner, and all of those episodes that have those keywords in it will pop up for you. And then you can know which episodes to search for. You also can go to our Buzzsprout homepage. I believe it's linked in the show notes. But you can go to our Buzzsprout homepage, and when you start searching for more episodes, then it pops up a search bar, and you can also search for keywords there. Other than that, you kind of have to just go into your podcast app and scroll back through. So that's another option, but there are like almost 250 episodes now, which is absolutely insane. So if you want to go and scroll back, you absolutely can. But if you want an easier way, those are two different ways that you can search for them by keywords. But what we're going to do is we're going to kind of talk about a very simplified way to do this day stack time blocking. Just if you're new to this whole thing and you're just trying to get started and you're like, I just need to do something right now, make it easy. Like, this is going to be just a really simplified version of how you can get started, start making some changes, and it's going to be a process of refining over time. So, number one, You want to just grab a piece of paper. You can use a paper planner if you want to, or you can just grab a scrap sheet of paper, maybe even a whiteboard, whatever you want to do. But whatever you decide, what you're first going to want to start with is tracking your time. You need to know where you are currently spending your time. And this means that you're just going to take this little sheet of paper with you. And that's probably why a sheet of paper is going to be the easiest, or even plugging it into your, digital calendar as you go through, but just plug in what you're doing and where you're spending your time. So if you are working on anything for your business, then plug that time in. How much time are you spending on that? If you are scrolling on your phone, plug it in and mark how much time you just spent just scrolling randomly on your phone. If you are going to lunch, plug that time in. If you're going to a walk or take a walk, or you're going to the gym, or you're working out at home, like all of those things, you're going to plug them into your day and just find out where you are spending your time. So that's the first thing you need to do is we need to get it down on paper. We need to get detailed. We need to see where we are spending time. We need to see how often we're jumping from one thing to another because we need to see what our life looks like when we actually can visualize it on paper rather than just going through the motions. So once you can do that, you're going to have a very different outlook on how you're spending your day because you might find that if you are getting to the end of a day and it has felt so busy and chaotic and you have been moving nonstop and then you look back at your day and it's like, okay, I spent, you know, X amount of time just bouncing between like little bouts of being on my phone and things that I was jumping from one activity to another and I kept going back and I never really finished it. Like you might find that you have been really busy, but you've never like actually been able to really focus on one thing and accomplish it. So you get to the end of the day being completely and utterly exhausted, mentally and physically, but you feel like you have nothing to show for it, but you never really stopped moving. And that's what I started finding when I started doing this how many years ago because I was so busy and I didn't realize how much I was jumping from one thing to another. It's like having a billion open tabs on your computer and constantly switching back and forth, but never really feeling like you fully get a task done. So that is what you're doing here in this first step is you are just getting everything down onto paper so you can actually see where you are spending your time. Then you're going to move to number 2, and you might want to do this for at least a full day, but if you can, give yourself a couple of days to just do this and just to start to acknowledge where you're spending your time. Then you're going to move to step 2, which is to condense what you're doing into similar categories. This is where you're trying to create a block of time that you're focused on one topic where you can. So, obviously, this is not going to work for every single topic. Sometimes you're going to need to do things for your kids for school in the morning, and then you're going to have another block of time for kids' school stuff in the afternoon, or however it works in your life. There's going to be things that are kind of split throughout the day. You can't get them all done at one time, and that's okay. But where you can, and as much as you can, you're going to try to condense things together. So instead of having this little block of time in the morning, you are doing, maybe some work stuff and then you're going to split it up and you're doing it at 10 a.m. and you're doing it at noon and then you're doing some more at 2 p.m. and then you're trying to get things done at 7 to 9 p.m. You like instead of adjusting and flipping through those things, try and condense it. It's like, okay, if I have a block of, one full hour at a time, I don't need to be doing it all throughout the day if I can get really focused in this 1 hour and get everything done. Like, is that an option? So you're going to just look at that and you're going to just try to pull as much together as you can, get it into similar categories so your brain can focus on one of the same types of categories at a time. So this might be like a work block, a cleaning block, your morning routine block, a workout block, an after school block, anything like that, a dinner block, all of those types of activities, just bunch them together. And you're going to name that block based on what type of category it is. So you're just going to condense things together, and that is going to become your block of time. Okay. And then you're going to move to step 3, and you are going to test out creating a day stack with these time blocks and see how it works. So, like I said in the beginning, these are like puzzle pieces. So, if you need to have a nice clean stack throughout your day, you are going to plug in what you need to do first. What is most important to get done first? Then you're going to have a stack or a block come after it with your next category, and then a block come after it for your next category. And if you need a block of quiet time or a block of, a mental walk, like just to like mentally clear your head, you need to get outside and you need to go for a walk, plug those times in there. If you need a block of blank space just to catch up, then plug those in. If those are priorities for you, plug those in as part of your day stack. You don't need to be going from, the start of the day and never stopping until the end of the day. If you need time, plug it in as a time block where you're not putting anything else, and see what you can do with your day stack. And this is not going to be perfect to start. You're going to have to test this out, and you're going to have to see how it flows for you. You're going to be able to learn what works best, what flows better. You're going to find that if you put something in a specific order and it feels clunky, shift them around and try to flip one of them to be sooner and then move the other one to a later time in the day and see if that works better. And you're going to find that you will eventually hit a flow that works really well for you, because that is the way that your brain works the best. It's the way that you feel the most efficient. And you're going to start finding those things, but you need to start from somewhere. So, this is how we're going to test it out to begin with. So you're just going to keep rearranging those time blocks to make sense for what works for your life. And then as you test it out, focus on actually what's happening within each block and continue to refine it. So, for example, if you have a cleaning block and you are focused on doing all these different things in your cleaning block to try and get your home reset, do you really need to do all of the things you're trying to do during that cleaning block? So this is where you can condense it into maybe a like specific routine. It's not just a block of time where you're focused on these types of things, but do you need to actually create a specific routine? And that's where you might find that going to the daily 7 home routine would be a really great benefit for you, because then you can actually build a very simplified, organized routine to get you through, get it done quickly, and free up more time in your day. And that is where the time blocks build on the routines and they work together so well, because then it not only just becomes your cleaning block routine, but it just becomes your block of time in your day that just becomes your daily 7 home routine. And that ends up being what you need to plug into your day rather than this big cleaning block of time. It just depends on what works best for your life. And when you are focusing on one specific time block, you really want to ask yourself, like, what am I doing in this time block? Is it a priority or is it wasting my time? Am I doing it just because that's what I've always done? Like, you really want to ask yourself why you are spending time doing things, because there are things that we don't necessarily like, but we need to do them anyway because they're a priority, they're required, they are something that is our responsibility to continue doing. And then there are things that we continue doing just because that's the way we've always done it and we're scared of changing. And we really need to ask ourselves, is it worth it? Is my time being spent on this worth the output? And we can start to look at that when we start really focusing on our time blocks, because then we can really prioritize things. And as you do this, you are going to find that you will start to make changes that you never thought were possible, because then you're going to move to number 4. And I only have 4 written down so that we're at the end of this, but you're going to just be committed to continue refining your day stack. And what I mean by this is that even when you find that perfect flow of your day, you are going to continue refining it, because you're going to just continue with life, and life changes and seasons of life change and things happen, that you just want to have this solid foundation that you can continue to tweak when things change so that it continues to work for your life. You're not starting from scratch when things start to change. You really can just tweak it as you go because when you have it set up like this, where you've done the work ahead of time to really refine what you need, you've categorized everything, you've built these blocks of time so that you can arrange your day in a day stack. What happens when life comes up and things change and something gets thrown off, instead of trying to put things into a block of time, all you have to do is rearrange those puzzle pieces. If you have something come up or an emergency comes up or you get a flat tire and all of a sudden what you had next on your day needs to be shifted, all you have to do is take that block and move it somewhere else. Does it need to go later in the day and you just shuffle those little puzzle pieces around? Does it need to go later in your day? Does it need to go a little bit later this week? Maybe you can remove something, or you can condense something else, or you can rearrange what else is coming for the rest of the week by just taking that little puzzle piece and moving it to a different spot. It doesn't mean you failed. It doesn't mean that you are not following through with your day stack or your time blocks. It means that you are figuring out a way to organize your life in a way that makes sense. It makes you feel more organized. It feels less chaotic. You have a plan. You actually can see visually what your plan is for the week and how you're going to be spending your time. And then when you do this, you end up being more focused on what your priorities are in your personal life. If you are prioritizing a date night, but you never seem to be able to get that date night on the calendar because you're just too busy, put it in as a block of time that is a non-negotiable. Like, you're plugging that in, and now everything else needs to go around that because that is something that is a high priority in your life. If you are doing a family night, plug that in as a block of time, and you're going to move all your other little day stack time blocks around it. Make sure you are taking what is personally important to you and you move your day stack in a way that allows you to really focus on what is important to you. And that's how we can ensure that this works the best for us, because our day stack is not aligning with anybody else's. Like, we are not looking at other people's day stacks to see if ours is really, matching up, or comparing, I guess, is what I'm trying to say, is you're not comparing your day stack to anybody else's because everybody's life looks different. Your day stack is important to you and it will apply to you and your family and nobody else's family. This is your thing. This is your creation. You get to decide how you are spending your time and what you prioritize. But until we really take the time to sit down and look at it and think this through and continue to refine it and understand where our time is going and how we want to be spending our time and making those tough decisions on what we're going to prioritize and where we're going to make those shifts, we're just going to try and keep up with life. And life gets busy. And until we sit down to actually go through this process, you're always going to be feeling like you're just trying to keep up rather than designing the life that you want to be living. So if you are like, one of my things was, for a long time I was forgetting to pray. If you are one of those people that, like, your faith is important to you, but you're so busy, you're having a hard time even figuring out when to pray, make that one of your blocks or one of your priorities in your morning block. Are you doing a morning routine, or are you taking a block of time, before you go to bed at night to focus on that? Like, what is important to you? This is the best part about doing this, is yes, it does take some time to sit down and figure this out and track your time and figure out where you're spending it. But what is so cool is that once you do it, you're going to have a completely different outlook on how you're spending your time each day. And you're going to be able to start making those decisions much easier because you're going to start recognizing what goes where within your day stack. So it's such a cool process. If you want more help, I am going to have my course coming out. I was asked this recently when it's going to be coming out, and I feel so bad because my goal initially was to have it come out in 2025. And this is the foundations course that I'm talking about. And you can go to my website at renaemat.com and you can learn about it. But my goal was initially to have it out in 2025. And unfortunately, like a lot of things happened in 2025 because, like I said, life happens. And we had a lot of health issues. We ended up having some like procedures or surgeries done. We had four vacations plus a long weekend getaway that we took in 2025. We almost bought a house, but we went through the entire process of like buying and selling our house, but then it ended up falling through at the last minute. So it's like all of these different things happened that we were not really expecting to begin with. And there were a lot of things happening that I wanted to prioritize. And I was like, you know what? Like, this is a decision I have to make. And I need to focus on just being consistent with my podcast because I'm very committed to being consistent to the 2 episodes a week right now. And I'm like, I need to reprioritize some things. So I had to delay the process in getting the course out. So I apologize if anybody has been waiting for it, but I am so grateful for your understanding because this is exactly what I'm asking you to do too, is to reprioritize what is in your life and make sure that you're focusing on the things that are important to you. And during that time, I knew that it was really important for me to spend a lot more time with my husband and to focus on that and to enjoy our time together and go on the vacations. We went, 15 years in our marriage with not taking like vacations other than to go visit family. So we didn't actually go on like a full vacation and we ended up just going on 4 in 1 year. So it was like, okay, this is time. We need this time together and it ended up shifting my priorities and I was able to just look at that and shift things around and this was one of the ways that I was able to do that without feeling guilty was because I knew that I would reprioritize my time later. And now I'm focused back on getting the course finished and getting it out to you guys, but I had to push it off until 2026 to be able to get it out. So things don't always go as planned. Like that's just my example. They don't always go as planned, but you don't have to feel guilty about it not going to plan if it's your decision because you're deciding to move things and shift things and prioritize something different. And it's not a bad thing to do that. So I want to just give you permission that if you feel like you need permission to do that, that you can choose what is important to you. You don't have to have others choose what's most important to you. You can say no to things. And when you are starting to build your day stack, you're going to find that you're going to have to say no to things because you can't fit everything into your day if you want to stay sane. So, this is a really great exercise to start making those changes and to start really figuring out what is most important to you in this season of life. So, like I said, if you want to go to renaemat.com, you can check out the course and the details. You can even get on the wait list if you want to make sure that you are notified when it releases. We're going to do a beta release first just to get some people in there, get some ideas, and then we will launch the full course once I get some people through there and get feedback on it, just because I do really want to release something that is helpful and useful and actually makes a difference for you. I don't want to release something that is just something to release just so that I have it. Like I want it to actually make a difference. So we're going to do a beta round first, but all of that information is to come because it's not fully ready yet. But that is where you'd go is renaemat.com to get all of those details. That's also where you can go to find the planner that I absolutely love using. And that's where I build my day stack. It's where I plan out my weekly planning projects to understand my day stack and to organize my priority tasks for the week and to get everything just out of my head and onto paper. I love using what is called the Dream Planner by Horatio Printing, and there is a discount code on there. So if you go to renaemat.com/resources, you can see all of the links of things that I recommend and the dream planner and supplies that I use. And I absolutely love it. So if you're looking for a paper planner for 2026, that is a planner that I highly recommend. So a really quick recap for what we were talking about already for feeling more organized and less frazzled with day stack time blocking is number one, you want to track your time. Just grab a sheet of paper and start getting really detailed on what you are spending your time on and how much time you're spending on it. So just get it all out onto paper and start recognizing how much you're jumping from different tasks throughout the day. Number two, you're going to then look at how you track your time each day and condense your tasks of where you're spending your time into similar categories. So, this is where you are starting to create those blocks of time where you can focus on one topic where you can. So, some examples of these as you are condensing them and naming them, it could be like your work block, your cleaning block, your morning routine block, your workout block, your after school block, your dinner block, your lunch block, like all of those different things. Just condense it together and understand what you are really spending your time on there. Like, what's your main focus of the time being spent in that section of time? Then you're moving to step three, where you test out your day stack with your time blocks. And this is where you're going to take those time blocks and you're just going to rearrange them in a flow that makes sense. So you just think about stacking it all on top of each other so that you know what comes first, what comes next, second, what comes third, all the way through your day, and keep restacking this day stack each day to figure out what flows best for you. And then as you are testing things out, you're also looking at where your focus is in each block and continue to refine it because you're asking yourself, what is a priority? What are we wasting time on? We really want to like condense as much as we possibly can in that time block to open up more space in our day while still getting done what we need to get done in that time block. And then we are going to move to step four, which is just being committed to continue refining your day stack. So not only are you refining what is within each of your time blocks, but you're refining the flow of your day. And you're not focused on having everything perfect, but being able to just continue refining and understanding that when something changes and life happens, that you can just take that block and you can restack it and fit it as like a little puzzle piece into a different part of your week, or you can reprioritize what's important, what needs to go away, and you can just shift things around. You don't have to be so stuck into a certain time frame within your day, but you can just restack those puzzle pieces and understand what just the flow of your day that needs to happen and what is a priority within that time frame. And you are going to find that you feel so much more organized, so much less frazzled, so much less chaotic. And you're going to find that as you do this, you are going to start opening up time in your day and you're going to feel like you actually finally have some free time. And if you have lost the feeling of what free time is, it is absolutely amazing because you can start to prioritize what's really important to you and we can start getting rid of the things that we're just doing because we're just trying to keep up and we're just doing things the way that we've always done it. We can actually make changes to start building the life that we want.
Did you love that episode or learn something useful? If so, would you do me a huge favor? My goal is to grow this podcast and help as many women as I can break free from the overwhelm so they can truly enjoy their life. The best way for me to do this is for you to leave a 5-star written review on your podcast app and to share this episode with a friend or in your Instagram stories. I appreciate you being here. I hope you have a wonderful day and I will see you on the next episode. Take care.